Hello. How is everybody out there? Hopefully you can hear me. Hi, my name is Justin, and you might have seen me working with Simon and Susan Savannah in our weekly streams, or you might have seen our Redis explainers on YouTube. I am going to start my own little streaming series, much like many of the other developer advocates, and I'm going to be basically going pretty slow through Redis JSON and Redis Search. I'm going to use a sample data set and a sample application that I absolutely love. It's one of my little hobbies. And it might not be your favorite thing, but it is somewhat interesting, and it gives us a really good platform to actually talk about the different capabilities of Redis Stack with JSON and Search and geospatial and some of our different data structures. So we're going to be building this out weekly, and I want to do a lot of hopefully we can both have some conversation in this. I would like to hear people's questions and comments and recommendations. We're going to be exploring a lot of different options and conventions that we've always talked about within Redis. And basically this is going to be kind of fun, hopefully. And today's going to be our first stream. So I'm going to talk about a lot of what we're going to be covering, how we're going to approach this, how I'm going to gather my data set, how am I going to parse through my data set, and what we'll be doing in the future within the next streams. So to start off, let me share basically what I'm going to be doing. All right, so this is eBird. I am a bit of a nerdy birder. I'm a bird watcher, I guess you could say. I love birds. You can see, there we go, my little mascot right there. My cat's name is Bird. I have a bird tattoo. I just think they're the coolest things. They're weird. They're little dinosaurs with wings and feathers that can chirp. They're a lot of fun. So this is eBird. It's a website where you can actually track all the birds that you've seen in a given area. You can look at different birds. Let's look at a surprise bird. Let's learn about the gray-chested jungle flycatcher. I mean, that's an amazing looking bird. And yeah, this site's really cool. You can listen to audio of the different calls. You can look at photos. You can see videos. You can see different distributions. So I probably haven't seen this bird because I haven't been to Southeast Asia yet. But I mean, hey, looks like they're all over the place. So what I'm doing is I'm going to kind of take this data, and I want to be able to search by location or by bird and see what has been seen. So look at the different sightings. This is kind of an inspiration from this app that I currently use. It's called Merlin. It's a phone app. And it's really cool because you can use it. You can say, I see a bird over there that's in a bush eating some berries. It's about the size of a crow, and it's brown. And giving that information into Merlin, it can say, it might be one of these 5 birds. Or one of my favorite features, which is really, really cool, is that you can actually record the audio with your phone. And using some kind of machine learning pattern matching, it can actually identify the bird and say, we think you have a northern flicker or an osprey or a barred owl right next to you, and we hear it. And I've actually tried this a lot on all of those different species, and it's all true. It's really, really cool. So I really like that, and I think it's a really good data set to actually work with. And I'll switch my screen so we can actually show that. It's been pretty fun actually playing with the data set because it's really huge. Now, eBird covers, as you saw there, all of the birds in the entire world. So that's a huge data set. Just for North America's bird sightings within the last 5 years, it's 167 gigs of data. And that's a lot. So I don't really want to deal with that large of a data set, especially if I'm just going to be running it locally. I could put it on the cloud with Redis, but they probably wouldn't be super happy if I was using all that size. So I kept it relatively bite-sized. I prepared it down to Washington State, where I'm currently am, within the last 5 years. That was down to 5 gigs. That was still a little big. So I'm just going to do 100,000 entries from Washington State. So 100,001 keys, which I think is good. That's a good data set to play with. We can maybe make it bigger. So let me first go over just a little document that I'm creating for myself, like what I actually want to, what I want to accomplish, what I want to be able to do. And then I'll enter live right now what technologies we're going to be adding to this and what technologies we're going to be using. So I'm just going to go into my markdown file real quick here. Create new bird sightings from like some front end. Start with Postman, of course, and search through recorded bird sightings using Redis as a data store, similar to Merlin or eBird.com. Given a location, I'm going to find all the birds within that location. Given a location, given a specific bird, I want to find what locations that bird has been at. So if I want to go to Point No Point or Point Gamble or Illinois State Park or Kitsap Lake, I want to be able to know what birds are in that location. And I want to look up sightings. So eBird has given a very large piece of data of all the different sightings. And from that sightings, I think that we can parse out some data so we can actually make each key smaller, since a bird of the same species is the same species throughout all the different sightings. We can take that out, and I'll show you the actual data structure in a little bit. But first I want to go through this so we can all just understand what's going on. eBird has a really great API. So I would definitely recommend that you check it out. I haven't used it because I want to use Redis as a data store. I could show how to use Redis as a cache between the actual client and the eBird API. But I mean, we're kind of above and beyond that. I've already done that. So yeah, there's a couple of different data models that I want to extract from all this data that we have. First, the bird. Name, scientific name, taxonomic order, which I think we can use as an ID. It's a numerical code. And that's basically like the American crow or the barred owl or the common seagull, things like that. They all have their own scientific name, and it's basically one type of bird. And so one type of bird will have many sightings, because you've probably seen more than one crow in your life, and it's been in many different locations and different times, different places. So we'll have bird, and then we'll have a location, and the location is going to have lots of different information. So it's going to have a location ID. Actually, I'm talking about that down here. The location, so where all the sightings happened. I want to actually integrate the coordinates that we have with geospatial. I think that'd be kind of interesting. And they also have location ID and county codes. I'm not quite sure if those can be actually converted from some simple method that I can write to sort of know, like, say you're in a city or in a location, maybe we can use a Google address, or I can just, with a browser, find the relative latitude and longitude of where you are, things like that. And we can find, like, what's the nearest bird that's been sighted. Or if you want to enter a specific park, what birds to expect to see. So I'm already kind of working on some to-dos with that. And then we have a sighting. So specific information on the location of the bird. And I'll go through this data structure, and we can sort of go through it and sort of see what we can actually pull out of it that would be interesting. And yeah, again, this is my data, eBird Washington State sighting data from 2017 to present. I'm going to upload all of this to Git. I'm not going to upload that file because it's too large, but I will provide instructions on how to actually gather that data for yourself. And you can just pick whatever region you are in. Within the United States, you can pick by state, which is really helpful. I haven't tried downloading any of the data sets for any other countries, but yeah, if you do that, please let me know how easy it is. It takes actually a couple of days for them to approve your request to give you an API key, and also to actually download the file that you're requesting. And it is big, and it takes a long time, which is unfortunate, but I mean, it's a lot of data. So let's actually look at the the JSON that I got. And I've cleaned this up. It comes in a tab separated file. So I converted that from a TSV to JSON. And it was a flat file because it was a TSV. It was a flat data structure. And I'm already starting to see different opportunities to create some embedded objects. And again, that might change later down the line because I might want to pull these out to have different data types or data sets. So the global unique ID is a number that I've extracted from what it was, which was a very, very long. Basically, they had their own database IDs present in here, and they had names plus colons, and I wanted to get those out. I wanted to create our own IDs that we could use, because that's what we talk about in a lot of our videos, is how to properly set up IDs and key spaces for Redis to be able to use them with your client to know exactly what to look for. So this is going to be, I think, the unique ID for every sighting. So again, this is the sighting. Exotic code says basically whether or not this is considered an exotic bird. And when it's exotic, that means it was released from captivity locally and now it's breeding. So like in San Francisco, they have gray parrots that aren't native to San Francisco, but they're there now because, because somebody let them free. And now they just like frolic around. I forget which hill. But basically, they're known in San Francisco. And you go there as a tourist to look at these parrots. Also, I think in University of Washington, they actually have those as well, where they just sort of fly about the university and they hang out on the arena, and their parrots are not native to Washington State. It's usually too cold, but they thrive. So yeah, we'll go over the exotic codes. There's a couple of different options. There's a PDF that is bundled with the actual data set that goes over every single one of these fields, which is really, really helpful. Yeah, breeding code, breeding category, breeding behavior code. Basically, when you saw them in your sighting, what was happening. So this is actually, I'm already seeing, like, since these are codes and categories, that makes me think that it's a tag. Tags are really good with Redis search because then you can use the exact same phrase over and over again, and you can search for all birds that were exhibiting behavior codes or breeding categories or things like that. Age or sex field, we're gonna have to find one that's actually populated because it's not very immediately easy to figure out the age or sex of a bird unless they actually have, like, the males are more colorful or something like that. We have observation date, which I do believe we can switch over to a timestamp, a Unix timestamp. And that allows us to actually use Redis search to search within a range. So observation dates within, a couple of months of this time during the season or things like that. And in the most recent video that I did with Redis JSON, we actually converted some of the timestamps to Unix, and you can use that as a numerical search, and that will just help you search dates very, very easily. All right, so what else we have? We have observer ID, time of observation started. I'm not sure if the observer ID is going to help us a whole lot, so I might not play with that too much. Sampling event identifier, I think, is a unique ID to this actual observation event, but I'll have to look at the PDF and check it out. So protocol type, what were they doing? Protocol code, I'll have to look that up, see if that's interesting, if we can use that as a tag. Project code, so eBird, PNW. PNW is Pacific Northwest. Duration minutes, so how long were they observing for birds at that location? Effort distance, so how far they walked. Looks like they walked 4.8 kilometers, which is good to know. Don't know if I'll actually use that. Number of observers, so it looks like this person was on their own. And it looks like they just saw one species, so one bird within their walk. They don't have any media. Nobody's reviewed it because there is no media, which is fine. But if they do have media, we might be able to actually pull that with the API, which would be cool because I don't want to actually host images or anything like that. So maybe I'll look at media if we can cross-reference that and pull like an image or a recording of a bird, which would be pretty cool. Now, looks like we have trip comments. That's pretty cool. We might be able to do some full text search on this. it might be interesting. So for this one, it says, quite breezy at first, but by 11 a.m. calmed down. 1 p.m. high tide. First ANMU for Kitsap. I don't know what ANMU is, but I do live in Kitsap County, so that's kind of cool. So species comments, nothing specific for the bird. Last edited date. I already converted this to a Unix timestamp. And so this is basically when this was uploaded or edited or updated within the eBird API. All right, now we're starting to get into some interesting bits here. Taxonomy. Now that's the actual bird, what they saw. So basically, I first look at the common name, so the American pipit. I don't know what the American pipit looks like, but that's okay. We can integrate that into this app later on. Anthus rubescens, that's the scientific name. And then we actually have these two unique IDs, taxonomic order and taxon concept ID. So I think that we can actually use either of these for a specific unique identifier for the specific bird species. So this is the opportunity. So we have two different types of data that we're going to store, a sighting and an actual bird. So I know for a fact that I want to do, say, as a key name, I'm going to start building this out to bird colon, maybe bird ID for one. So if I just want to learn about the American pipit, and let's see here, I have bird colon bird ID. I want to find all the sightings for this bird. So let's do sighting, and then I'll do sightings ID. Sighting ID. And that will be a good start for me to start pulling things. And I'm going to have to think about, given the bird's ID, a list of all sightings, depending on how big that will be. I'm not quite sure. So bird colon bird ID, and then sightings. Now, these are both going to be JSON. Thinking about this being a sorted set or a list. We're not going to have multiples of the exact same sighting, but I don't know if we need to have an actual sorted set. So that's going to be something that we're going to be thinking about. And let's see here. We have the stand user. Well, hello, stand user. Thanks for watching me talk about birds. Will you be changing the name as well from date to timestamp? I'm not sure. Yeah, date isn't exactly what it would represent once I turn it into a number. So yeah, I'll probably turn it to timestamp. I'm not going to actually sit here and code out all the the scripting to actually do some maintenance on the data. I'll store a lot of my scripts that I use in the scripts folder. I've already done some stuff. So text to CSV, CSV to JSON, some JSON refinement. I'm going to put all of that there so everybody can actually take a look at it and see what I did. So yeah, I'll probably do that. Let me do my, let's see here. We have location. Let me add that to my to-do. Do sighting, to-do, change date to timestamp. Let me switch to, yeah, it just keeps us honest. I think find that out. So why not? The stand user also asks, why not set over sorted set for sightings? Good point. I always just use a sorted set because we just can. A set is completely fine because it's just a set of a list or a collection of unique members, where sorted set is a collection of unique members that are sorted by a score. And I guess there is actually no score assigned to these because they're all basically the same. I could do it by date. I don't know if that would be interesting in any way. I could find the most recent or the least recent sighting, but yeah, good point. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here. So thank you for actually bringing that up. Boop, 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 boop. Just do it set for now. If I see like an actual need for it, then I might do that. Okay. So let's look back. Sorry. Let's look at this gigantic data set again. So we have taxonomy, all the information. Location is the last thing I want to actually check out. So location is going to be interesting because you're going to see multiple birds at one location. You're also going to have multiple sightings at a given location. So this one's going to be used a lot. So let's take a look at it. The one that I found was really interesting is the location ID and the county codes. I want to find out if I can kind of figure these out based off of some sort of model that exists or algorithm that exists, so I can figure that out, like a location ID. Location name is helpful, but it's only helpful if you know that area. So location name, point no point. I know where point no point is. That's north of me. And it's really beautiful, but it's not really helpful. So we could use coordinates. I love coordinates. Redis absolutely loves coordinates, so we'll do that. No matter what, I'm going to add those into our search indexing. But I want to explore a little bit more about location ID, country code, and Atlas block is a thing that eBird uses, and it actually kind of cuts up a state into logical pieces. So I've done a little bit of research on that. I don't know if it is present in every single location, so I don't know if it would actually help a whole lot. So, but with location, what I want to do is first have just location. And then here, once we have location, I can find a lot of sightings. Stream for sightings rather than, here you are, Mephilik. Hello, thank you for coming to my little stream. Yeah, what about stream for sightings rather than list or set? Absolutely. I want to focus on Redis, JSON, and search for this one. We already have 2 big power hitters running on that stream. Yeah, we can definitely do that. I also don't mind going through the fake acting of like, oh, I've done a sorted set. I'm sorry, a set or a list, but now let's do it to streams. We can also see what would happen if that happens. So I am more than willing to go through all of them, list, set, and then stream. Cool. So for location, what do we want? We want search by location to get all the birds, search by location to get all sightings. So this actually won't be that bad. And so that will mean that by location, location ID, I'll get all the sightings, and I'll be in a set or a list or a stream. And then location, I just want to maybe get all of the birds. So this will give me just a set of all the bird IDs, things like that. All right, so that is actually going to put me, that's going to give me a lot of homework, a lot of small scripting homework that I'm not going to actually bore you with. But what I'm going to do is go through this data set and pull out all these different things. And then I will come back with my findings. So I'm going to find out how big these are going to get to access one of them with one of our Redis own clients, how long it takes versus the 3. So I'll actually do a set or a list or a stream, and we can actually find which one is the fastest, easiest. And this isn't a small data set exactly. It's 100,000 entries. So this will be actually a lot of fun. And I was going over this data and I noticed that there are a lot of repeats. So like the amount of crows that you actually see. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that people like, oh, look, a crow, I'm going to enter that in there. But people do. So that's okay. I guess we shouldn't be, preferential to the interesting or unique birds. But yeah, so we'll actually have some really interesting information of that. And I'm kind of excited. Just sitting here in my office, in my new office in Washington State, I actually am very lucky. I'll show you the background. I have a beautiful field. It's an orchard with bushes, and whenever I'm thinking really hard about Redis, I'll look out the window and I'll see some interesting birds, and it's really kind of cool. So I want to find out what these are. So, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to go over today. Just sort of like what we're going to be doing with this code. Also, I want to go over all the way down here. So, what are the technologies for this stack? So, I'm going to use Redis, specifically Redis Stack. So that gives me access to JSON, search, streams, geospatial indexing, all of those good data structures that we know and love. For the back end, I don't know. We're going to be using embedded objects within our JSON. So I'm leaning right now towards Python OM because Python currently supports embedded objects. I want to use JavaScript, but right now we're working on embedded objects as of October 31st, 2022. So I think to just put myself with my first foot forward with success, I'll use Redis OM. So backend, I'm thinking Flask or Fast API. Savannah's working on Flask right now, so why not work on Fast API? One of our previous advocates, Andrew Brookins, he did a Fast API demo with cryptocurrency, and it's a little old, so I wouldn't mind updating that and working on some new content with Fast API. So that'd be good. So that's both with Python. And then, yeah, the front end. It's been a long time since I've worked on some front end work. Let's keep it simple. So nothing too fancy. I'm gonna do some really basic React. I need to dust off my front end skills. Vue, okay. Front end review. I think one of our websites. Our 102 JS, Python, and Java actually uses Vue as a front end, I believe. So yeah, I could do that too. Just no Ember. I actually had I had a memory of one of my old students was constantly bugging me. I was teaching them React when I was a coding bootcamp instructor. I'm like, why aren't you teaching Ember? Why aren't you teaching Ember? This is the coolest thing in the world. It's so important. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, well, I kind of think React might kind of last a while. This was back in like 2014. He's like, oh well, no. You need to teach what is going to really be hiring out there. And I was like, well, no, I'm just going to teach Ember, or I'm going to teach React, sorry. And 2 years later, he actually messaged me on LinkedIn. I'm like, I'm so sorry for sucking up the air and demanding Ember. Ember's great, but React kind of made it farther, which is kind of funny. So yeah, that will be near the end. That's when we actually have, a decent back end. And then the client I'm going to be using, it's going to be Redis Python, of course. We're going to be using Redis Insight. Just so I can actually play with the browser in it. It's really neat. And let me actually, I was doing some, don't do this. This is dangerous. Don't you do it. I can do it. You can't do it. I was just doing some experiments here. I used Redis Riot Redis input output, and it's really great for piping in large amounts of data into Redis. So I actually highly recommend that you check it out. Let me find the site for you. There you go. Let me put it in. I'm just going to put all the information I can into this document so I don't ever get lost. So data ingestion right here with Riot. And I'm going to put this both of these just in case anybody ever wants to check it out. It was actually really, really easy. I was surprised. I was able to actually get data loaded in. So let me actually call it. So it's there's a couple of different flavors. I do write file, where you take a file and you pipe it in. You can do random information. You can import or export from other Redis instances. So write file, my host 127.0.0.1, port 6379, and then here's the actual command import, and then my data folder, bird data.json. And this is just a huge array of the JSON objects. You can also feed in the actual like text file or CSV file if you wanted to. And then the command that I want to call is going to be JSON set. And that just sets it all as JSON. You can do hset if you want to do hashes. You can do lpush if you have like a large list of things you wanted to create, things like that. Now, these are going to be just those big JSON objects with the two embedded objects, the location and the taxonomy. So I'm just going to create all of these with the key prefix citing, citing, because that's what they are. And then the unique ID for every key is going to be, now this is pretty cool. It's giving me the GUID. Now remember up here, the GUID here for every bird or for every sighting is this number. And so I can use that. So when I'm actually going to be separating out my taxonomy, again, the specific bird will have that taxonomy. And then for location, one of these magic numbers. I'm imagining location ID, see if that's actually permanent. I don't want to do an actual like human text thing. Raphael, yes, Redis is awesome. Every day I am discovering how much I like this. It's kind of fun. I've never thought I'd be a developer advocate for a database. But hey, here I am. Yeah, Redis is really great. It's fun. So yeah, this is, let's see here, key space citing. Oh, I forgot to actually keys equals GUID. And now this will look at my file and pipe everything into it. Oh, thank you. Standys, that's nice. Seems like you have it all figured out. It's very sweet of you. I have some things figured out. A knower of all, master of none. But yeah, we're getting there. Every day I learn something new. All right, so it looks like everything went through. So I'm just going to call Redis CLI info. And yeah, key space, it shows I have 99,999 keys. Okay, great. That works. Let's actually switch over to something a bit more graphical. So let me stop sharing this screen, look at my big face, and then let's look at another screen. And cool. All right. Ooh, that's big. Let me see if I can, or it's small. Does that look better? Okay, cool. So this is Redis Insight. It's a really great GUI tool that allows you to inspect your keys, browse your keys, and kind of, it's almost like Jupyter mixed with just like those classic old school like SQL browsers mixed with the CLI. So it's got something for everybody. I really like it. So I just connected to my local database instance. And here we go. Let me give you just a quick little tour if you haven't never seen this. This is the CLI. So here's me. Lol, what does not compile properly in the CLI, but that's okay. Yeah. Excuse me. This is my CLI. This is my key browser. So I'm seeing here, just refresh this just to make sure. Yep. I have all my keys. And I actually have 10,001. That can't be right. No, I have a lot. Oh, wait. I think it overflowed because I actually embiggened it too much. But I have a lot of keys. So yeah, here are all of my keys. And you can see that they took that GUI and they actually stuck it as a unique identifier. And then here, you can actually see. here you can actually see the content of each key. So here's all my data. And it's great. And my favorite thing is seeing the embedded data. Being within Redis and starting off when like JSON was experimental and search was just barely getting out of the oven, it was really exciting. And being able to see this here, it was really cool. So let me actually demonstrate real quick how to grab some of this data. This is what I'm going to be dealing with a lot within our navigations. So let's say JSON.get. That's my first command to actually pull information out of this JSON object. The key, we'll just pick that key that I picked at randomly. And let's say I want to get everything. So I'm just going to use the $sign. When I was an instructor at boot camp, I found it very easy to just use peso instead of $sign because it's just 2 syllables. So if I flip into peso from $sign, don't be alarmed. It's just me saying $sign. So yeah, let me just first check this out. Bam, that gives me that gigantic JSON object. That's fine. Now let me call it again, but I want to get just the location. So, it needs to be capitalized. There we go. And so now we have the location object, and then I can just drill down even more. So let's get .location name. Battleground Yard. Cool. I don't know where that is. So that's in Washington, but what county? I'll call county Clark. Horrible. I don't know where that county is. I think it's either central or east, because I haven't traveled in eastern Washington very much. It's like a desert over there. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I can actually drill down into these JSON objects, and there's a lot of different things you can do with this peso or this dollar. It's JSON path, which basically means you can use like some subscripting characters to actually pull information. You can pull all information out of a list. You can pull like the first and third or first 2/3 object of a list. You can do a recursive scan into it and pull all fields of the same type out of it. It's not going to be that big or that in depth within this stream, but within this data code or data set. But yeah, we'll definitely be using it. And so that's really exciting. All my data is now in here. Looks like I'm going to have to do some scrubbing because this looks pretty not useful. So I'll have to do some of that. But I wanted to get this out here as soon as possible so I can just sort of show people what I'm going to be doing. And every week I'm just going to go through in here and refine the data set a little bit more and more and more. And I might be able to get this data set somewhere like an AWS something instance, just so I don't want to choke GitHub, and nobody wants to do that. So yeah, this is my data set. Let me switch back over to my code. And yeah, until we talk again on next Monday, I'm going to be doing some basically some more data preparation, figuring out what I want to do specifically. So I'll probably actually start these 3 data structures and do some testing. I'd love to play with some timing and see how these are performing. Yes, streams are probably the most, that makes the most sense, but we'll see. We'll see. And yeah, let me just go through here. Thank you, Micah. It says Redis Insight only scans 10,000 keys each time, like you can see above. Yeah, that makes sense. And then stand user, what do you say? The one thing I dislike about JSON path is to get an item in array whilst not knowing the index. Yes. Yeah, I actually ran into that problem while working on RU204, and I wanted to actually show a little bit more about index access with JSON path with RU204, but alas, it's a work in progress. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe we'll get some Lua scripting in here to play with all of that too. Why not? Because I don't have a specific plan for how far this is going to go, but I basically want to explore and get really comfy with JSON and search within Redis. So yeah, that's basically it. I didn't want this to be a really big, heavy duty one. That's gonna be the next couple of days or next couple of weeks. I have the Monday slot, so this will be a nice bookend to my day. So yeah, I will update this in the YouTube description and on Discord. Oh yeah, you know what? I should probably pay the bills. Head on to our Discord if you still want to talk about birds with me, or if you want to like suggest something or anything like that. I'm going to post the repository in the description of the YouTube channel, and also somewhere in the Discord. I'll also include the repo. And if you want me to do something, or if you want to suggest something, please make issues and make me do it, because that makes for good content, and it's good for me because I haven't actually gotten into a code base to actually write for a little application for quite some time. I'm doing a lot of academic stuff, a lot of coursework and stuff like that. So yeah, go on the Discord. This is going to be on our YouTube channel, so head over to YouTube. I also did another video that I released on Friday on JSON and Search. Can you detect a theme going on here? Where we talk about food trucks and how to actually find all the food trucks and how we actually organize that. And I think Savannah has also played with those as well in a couple of her streams, which is really cool. And then this is all centered around RU204, which is in our university course. So go to university.redis.com and take that course. It's going to be super fast. I don't know if I'm spoiling this or giving too much of a future thing, but our Q4 plans are starting to get solidified, and we're going to be doing a live stream of RU204 with another colleague of mine. And so that's going to be an excellent opportunity for everybody to ask questions or take the course with us if you haven't yet. It's going to be fun if you've ever taken the RU101 live course, where it's basically Susan and I just chewing the fat and talking about data structures. It was really a lot of fun to work on. And we explored a lot of the old data structures I actually haven't played with. We didn't play with bit fields, but I love bit fields. Check out our bit field explainer. I kind of do some dress up. Very, very appropriate for Halloween. Yeah, so those I believe are going to be all the things I have to talk about. Yeah, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. Please be patient as I get used to live streaming. I don't do it as much as my colleagues, but I promise I'm going to be doing a lot more because I want to talk more. I have a lot of things to say. So yeah, as again, talk to me on Discord. Look forward to that repo. Give me issues. Tell me what you want to see. And think about birds. They're cool. They're real. And they're interesting. And they make weird noises. And they look pretty. And yeah, tell me your favorite bird in the next stream. Sounds good? All right. Bye, everybody.